The moment that you are only thinking about what you want, what you need, what you wish to see is the moment that you lose. Hello, welcome to the Karla Eli Show. I'm your host, Karla Eli, and I'm here to guide women towards wisdom so that they may unlock a life of abundance by mastering the feminine balance. Let's get into today's flow. Today, we are going to talk about effective communication, specifically in a relationship. I am saying that we need help in this area. A lot of women always come up to me and ask me, Karla, how do I get my man to react in a specific way? Why can't I get to him? Why is it that I am struggling to make him understand me? I want to dive into what it means to be an effective communicator as someone who runs her own company, but also as someone who also is a wife, okay, who also has a man. And I understand your frustrations. Believe me, I know. I know how it is. I'm not going to pretend like my relationship is perfect. I have no problems. No. We're here to be real. I'm also here to teach you how to, I don't want to say how to get everything you want from your man because that also sounds very manipulative. I'm not here to be manipulative. I'm here to teach you how to strategize. There's a difference between manipulating versus strategizing. The big difference between the two is one has intentions for control, while the other one has intentions for growth. And we're going to dive into that in today's episode. In order for me to teach you how to be an effective communicator, you need to unlock this mindset first, this level up mindset. The moment that you are only thinking about what you want, what you need, what you wish to see is the moment that you lose. When you are in a relationship, it is not just about you. It's actually not about you. Okay? It's not about you. It's about the other person and you. Okay? But not just you, and you, because that's how you lose. And let me explain why. So, whenever you want to speak to your partner, your husband, your spouse, your boyfriend, your man, and you are going in trying to get something from him for your own benefit, that's when you lose. Mind you, you can still get whatever you want from your partner, but you have to think about them. How was their day? What's the best way to communicate with them, right? And I'm going to give you a personal example. It also depends on their defense mechanism, and that's going to be phase two of relationships. I'm going to teach you guys how to use the Enneagram to better your relationships and to choose your partners better, but that's going to be in the future. Not right now. I'm excited for that. But anyway, I'm trying to think of a personal example of when I do this all the time, you guys. I do this all the time. Now I've mastered it. I know how to speak to my man. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I want something, I know how to get it, and because I know how to ask for it, but not just how to ask for it, but whenever we're going through like a little moment of us getting going back and forth with conflict, I know how to like bring it down a notch because things can get heated in the moment. If you've been in a relationship for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. It's with like the smallest of things, okay? For example, right now my husband and I are doing long distance. For all of you that don't know, we are doing a couple of months of long distance for his work purposes. But anyway, this is when effective communication is key, when it's super important. But the other day I was on the phone with him and we were trying to schedule like some doctor's appointment, and he has a very confined schedule. And he was like, well, it's because you don't understand. Like, I can't leave, wherever he's at. I can only go to the doctors on XYZ. And I told him, I'm like, I know, babe, I'm on your team. I'm on your side. I want you to get into this doctor's office at this date so that you don't have to miss out on your training for whatever day. And he's like, well, it sounds like you don't understand. And I was like, no, I've called twice because I care, and they keep sending you the wrong appointments. And he's like, oh. And then I reiterated to him what he had just told me. I understand that you're not available these days, and these days because it'll hinder you if blah, blah, blah. And then I told him, please don't put words in my mouth. Like, I'm on your team, babe. I'm also as frustrated as you, but I don't have control over this. And he's like, oh, okay. that was like a fight that could have escalated fast, but didn't. I know that I'm making it sound like it wouldn't have, but this appointment is pretty important to us. I just told him, I'm like, no, I'm on your team. And that's what I want you to start doing. Whenever you have conflict, you need to be, it needs to be quick. What is the problem? Do not think it's you versus them. That never solves anything. It's always us against the problem. The problem's over there and this is us. We need to tag team it so that we can know how to strategize and fight that problem. I should probably mention that in order for the strategies that I'm going to teach you how to use, your partner needs to be healthy. You already need to have a healthy relationship. I mean it. Because my husband is also very smart, okay? I chose a very, very intelligent man. And he knows. He knows. He knows when I'm testing out my theories on him. Um, and he pokes at me sometimes. It's totally normal. How many, we probably do it all the time. We probably do it all the time. I know that I do it whenever I'm on my lady days. Oh my gosh, I love to poke at people to make them break. Why? Because I also have moments where I'm toxic, okay? So you need to call yourself out, but there's times where you can be, like your sassy usual self, and times where it's like important where you cannot. And we need to really, really be careful whenever we are messing around or whenever we're poking or whenever we're crossing some boundaries, because the time that it really matters, that thing, that thick line, that thick slash thin line called boundaries is extremely powerful but extremely delicate. So we need to know when to mess around and when not to mess around with our speech. It's very, very important for us. So like I said, the theories, the strategies, and everything that I'm going to teach you, it can only work, one, if the man is in love with you. Because a man in love will do anything for you, is willing to understand you, is willing to do whatever it takes to keep you in his life. But also, he needs to be healthy and he needs to want to be in a relationship with you for it to work. Because there are many things that you could do, many leveling up things that you could practice. But if a man doesn't want to be with you and if he doesn't want the same things as you, it is not worth it. And this is really when you get to see that. The reason why a lot of the things that I do in the way that I communicate with my husband is because I see us being together forever. He also sees us being together forever. So he's willing to work through the problems that we might have in the seasons of our lives together because he sees me as an investment. If your man doesn't see you as an investment, these things that I'm going to teach you are not going to work. Strategy number one, just because you want something and you need it fast doesn't mean that you should ask for it right there and then. Listen, there's a time and moment for everything. This is really when you need to step into your femininity, your high value woman zone, and have discernment to know, is this a good time to talk about a deep issue, something that bothered me, a conflict, or I want something, I need something. For example, my mom laughs at me because I'll be honest with you guys here. My mom laughs at me because whenever I ask for like income, for example, or like some money from my husband, whenever I ask for some money, she's like, dang, I ask your dad for money in hundreds, but you ask your man in thousands. And I start laughing because it's the truth. But I know when to ask and I know when to ask for more or when not to. And money might be a sensitive topic for a lot of you, but it's not for me. It's really not. For in our relationship, money is fluid. So it's like if you need money, just like, ask for it. That's how my husband approaches everything. He's like, just ask. Because truly, ladies, men cannot read your mind. They do not know what is going inside this beautiful mind of yours. Okay? Especially if you're married into like a different culture type of relationship. He cannot read your mind. He cannot read your mind. You have to ask him and be specific, even if it's frustrating. For example, all of the gifts that my husband gives me, by the way, is because I told him, babe, for my birthday, I want this, this, and this. For Christmas, I want this, this, and this. Babe, don't worry. I already circled it for you. I even circled like the length of it, the measurement of it. And that's okay. Of course, like it's nice for him to have initiative and for him to know, but most of the time He doesn't know because he's not me. And honestly, I would have much rather my husband ask me like directly, what do you want? So because I'm picky, okay? I am a picky woman. I am picky. I don't settle. I am very, very picky. So, and he knows that now. So he asks me, he's like, babe, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Valentine's Day? Like he asks me, but that's how I like it. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing. It is so freeing. The moment that you learn how to speak your mind, how to not be scared to ask questions is the moment that your relationship starts to level up and that you start to have a lot of breakthroughs together because you are deciding to feel uncomfortable for a little bit, right? But then there's clarity. You allow for blessings to come because it is clear of the expectations and the standards that you both have for one another. I should probably emphasize that one of the reasons why you're most likely scared to communicate with your partner or scared to offend him or like you don't know how to communicate with him, it is most likely tied to a limiting belief that you have that you are working through because you most likely experienced some traumatic experience with you when you were younger, not necessarily just with your parents, but maybe at school with your teachers, the way that you ask for things. And in a way, like it's almost condemned to be so upfront with like what it is that you want. But when it comes to a relationship, the easiest way, if your man again loves you, is to genuinely ask him and tell him directly. A man cannot read your mind. Please get that. If you learn anything from today, learn that a man cannot read your mind. If he is the breadwinner of the household, for example, he's thinking about tons, tons, and tons of other things. Okay? He's thinking about a lot of different things. Make it easy for him and be like, babe, this is what I want in this color and in this shape. And the more specific, the better. Okay. That's what I've learned. Again, not every man is the same, depends on the culture. But since I did marry into a relationship that has a different culture, this has been working for me. And I'm sure that it's going to work for many of you because men have the same principles or like are kind of wired similarly. They can't read your mind. The more clear you are with your communication, the happier both of you will be because then that means that you have an expectation for him and he's able to fulfill it because you communicated it with him. And then with time, that's how you mold your partner, by the way. This is how you guys level up together. When you are more clear with what you want and what it is that you are both looking within each other, and you communicate your frustrations, the things that hurt you in a kind way. I'll get into that on Wednesday Wisdom. In a kind way, in a gentle way, but also in a firm way by placing boundaries, that's when both of you grow and you allow him to show you his own growth. And if he does really respect you, because listen, I've been very, very blessed, and I'm sure that you are too. You will be too. Most of the time, I only have to tell my husband once of something that he did, and he doesn't commit it again. That's another thing. That's how you know that he's in love with you. That's how you know that he's in love and that he loves you. You tell him to fix it once, and he never commits it again. The moment that you have to start repeating yourself time and time and time again, and you say it in a gentle way and blah, 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 the ways that I've been telling you right now, but he doesn't listen, it's a very clear indicator that he does not respect you. A man who loves you and wants you to be in his life respects you. And the one time that you tell him, this hurt me, you hurt me by doing this, he is not going to do it again. This is a very, very good check mark for you. Which leads me to point number 2, how to tell your man that he hurt you, right? Obviously, you can't change everything about him because you married him because you like him the way that he is, or you're together with this person because you like him the way that he is. But there are things that can be modified in the way that you speak and the way that you do things. And one of the things that you need to feel comfortable talking about is like honestly being vulnerable with your partner. There's no way for you to master communication unless you are vulnerable. You don't need to tell him everything. Remember, your spouse, your partner is not your best friend. They are your spouse and your partner. They are not your girlfriends. Please remember that. So be vulnerable with him. Truly tell him how much he hurt you. Cry if you have to. I've done that before. Cry if you have to so that he can want to change, because when men love you, when they're in love with their woman, they see them as this delicate being. and the last thing that they would want to do is hurt them. So when you communicate like this specific action that you did, the way that you moved your hands, the way that you opened the door, the way that whatever it might be, the way that you phrase this, the way that you made me feel. Talk about how he makes you feel whenever he hurts you in a specific way. I'm speaking emotionally, right? When he unintentionally hurt you, because most of the time they do it unintentionally. And if it's intentionally, that means that something's wrong and that you did something, but that they don't want to communicate it with you. So you have to ask him, like, babe, what's wrong? Talk to him and tell him, babe, you hurt me by doing XYZ. This is how you made me feel. You made me feel gross. You made me feel disgusting. You made me feel like I was the worst person ever. Whatever it is, right? So you can get it off your chest and you can move forward. What a waste of life if all you did was argue and not get over it and get over it 3 days later. The goal that my husband and I always have is like get it over with within an hour, with 2 hours, but we will never go to sleep upset at each other. That is the worst. That is the worst. Get over it within an hour, 2 hours. Try to shrink it. Try to condense it. If you didn't get over it until 5 hours later, then it's 5 hours. But next time, 4, 3, 2, 1, until it's like 30 minutes and then you're over it. And that's what I want for all of you. But in order for you to reach that level, you need to feel comfortable communicating what is bothering you, what it is that you need in an effective way. And I'm going to talk more about the effectiveness of communication on Wednesday Wisdom. But ladies, I want to end this episode with saying that you should not disrespect your husband verbally. Do not disrespect your husband verbally. I know it's like a no-brainer, but even in the midst of you being super upset, control your tongue. Your tongue has the power to give life or bring destruction onto your household. Please, ladies, do not disrespect your man verbally. Don't call him names. Don't say that you hate him. Don't say awful things that you are going to regret later, because he will internalize them. That is how you hurt him the most. Okay? Because again, if he's a breadwinner, he already has to deal with a lot of stuff outside. You want him to come to you and come to you vulnerable, come to you like without needing a shield. The only way that you can do that is by always respecting him, even when you're upset, even if he disrespects you. In the early stages of my marriage, my husband sometimes would test me and poke me, but I would not let him define my character. And the more because there were times where he would poke me and I'd be like, nope, I'm not budging. And now we've gone to a point in our relationship where that is unspoken. Like we don't disrespect each other in any way. He doesn't poke me whenever it's a sensitive topic or whenever we're arguing, because he understands that it's just not allowed in our marriage. This is why knowing your standards and knowing your worth is super important, because you are your own standard. You don't do it for anybody else. You do it for your own virtue. I got a little heated there. It's because communication is really important. I realize that communication and mastering effective communication is truly a superpower. Again, the moment that you learn how to express your needs, your wants, your desires, your disappointments, your internal conflicts, is the moment that not only will you elevate your relationship, but you will also elevate your friendships, your relationships with your parents. And later on in phase 2, I'm calling it phase 2 of me dissecting relationships and dating and stuff like that. I'm going to teach you guys how to use the Enneagram so that you learn how to mold your communication speech a little bit better depending on each coping mechanism. Not everybody can deal with you being assertive. Not everybody can deal with you being gentle. Not everybody can deal with you being extremely vulnerable or like bubbly. Not everybody can deal with one way of speaking. There's different flavors, there's different colors for a reason. And I will be talking about the Enneagram a little bit more as we continue through this journey. But as of right now, this is where it's going to end. Ladies, be wise. Thank you so much for staying all the way through. I hope you learned at least one thing from today's flow. As time goes by and as time progresses, I will be a little bit more specific because I feel like I wasn't that specific. But today is not about being specific. Today is just flowing. It's flowing with what is in my heart, and effective communication is definitely a problem that I see in relationships and in dating. When you're able to communicate properly when you're dating, that like flirtatiousness and that like subtleness turns into like an engagement ring. I always say that you have the power to turn any offers that you want with your lips. You just have to learn how to use it wisely. But with that being said, ladies, if you're interested in a one-on-one mentor or, mentorship, I am going to be hosting in-person mentorship soon by February 29th. It's going to be taking place in March. So if you're hearing this post March, I'm most likely in the midst of it. But please, if you need any assistance or any help and want to work with me, I recommend you go on to www.karlaeli.com. You will find all my services, all that you need on there. I'm super excited with what I'm doing. I'm just really happy that I get to be here with all of you. I'm doing what I love. And if it weren't for you to push me, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for your support. If you're liking everything, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, hello. Thank you for supporting me on Spotify as well. And I will be talking to you guys next week. Bye bye.